Welcome back, everyone, to part three and the final part of the Empire's tier list. We have gone through almost 86 empires. At least by the end, we're going to get through all 86 empires. This is all we got left. Connor's here with me. Say hi, Connor.
Hello there.
All right, we are going to really get into this. These are the ones we did in part one and part two. We're not going to do them again. So if you want to go and watch those ones, hashtag ad plug. Um, so you have to watch them. So we're gonna kick it off with the first one, the North Sea Empire. So we're looking at the Vikings today.
What a way to start. I cannot think of
Uh,
anything better to start off
yeah,
this
I love the
like
North Sea Empire. Oh man. Uh, let's see. What do we have a good representation here of the North Sea Empire?
that first picture
This
is
first one.
what popped up on Wikipedia. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one
this
pops
first
up
one.
on Wikipedia.
Okay, so we have Denmark, Norway, and England here. Um,
I'll say this is essentially like the height of Viking territorial
oh
expansion.
yeah, oh yeah. This one gets me hyped. I love the North Sea Empire, especially the Vikings itself. The Vikings are just amazing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with coming from obviously from the Scandinavian countries of Norway and Denmark, and even conquering a lot of England in itself, kind of like changing the form of what modern England is today, especially from the Anglo Saxons. Um,
Oh yeah. Yes, for sure.
I don't know if it's really counted, but they also have Normandy too. Would you say that would count in this grand scheme of things?
Mm,
At least like
that might
Viking age
think I think Normandy's kind of like its own
is its own like principality.
entity.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, like definitely like the age of Vikings and conquering and taking over places. Obviously, left a big impact on especially Norway and Denmark, but also creating this like whole new like not ethnicity. I don't want to say, but like more like a cultural identity with England, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, and how this comes about is that um king of Denmark uh he was able to first he united with Norway in the year 1000, and then he conquered England in the year 1013. Uh
Yeah.
Once he died, the realm was divided, but still technically all within that empire. And then his
Mm.
son, Canute the Great, reacquired England in 1016, Denmark in 1018, and Norway in 1028. And he died again. Then he died in 1035, and the realm was once again divided. But his successor actually was able to inherit England, and he was able to rule at least Denmark and England until his death in 1042. But the height of the Viking power here was when Canute the Great ruled, and he was actually, according to Wikipedia, he was the most powerful ruler in Western Europe after the Holy Roman Emperor.
Ooh, that gives it some style points, especially because of our hatred of the Holy Roman Empire from last episode.
Yes,
So,
100%.
for me, I'm gonna put it in based. It's
Yep,
based.
the Vikings are always based, no matter what.
You going based?
I'm going based.
I mean, come on, like who would not like a good Viking? Especially, literally, I think you described the synopsis of what Vinland Saga is.
Well,
Vinland
at least,
Saga is also really good.
I mean, at least the European parts, Vinland Saga, once they hit the New World, you
Ah,
know.
yeah, all that stuff. Next, we got the Oman Empire. So,
Forgot that they technically had an empire at one point.
oh, I don't know the Roman Empire. We're getting there.
It's the Omani
I'm, s-
Empire.
I'm just. It wants me just to get me Rome. All right, here's the Omani Empire. Okay, I'd say this is pretty accurate.
Yep, it was a maritime empire.
Mm.
It fought it fought for power in trade influence in the Persian Gulf and Indian Ocean.
Mm.
Fought for power between Portugal and Britain. It was considered a regional power in the 18th century, and
Hmm.
this is its peak essentially at the 19th century. Um, as after the
So,
death of their Said bin Sultan in 1856, the empire was divided between his two sons into two sultanates: an African section ruled by Majid bin Said, and an Asian section ruled by Thuwani bin Said, who was the Sultanate of Muscat and Oman.
okay. So
So it's
it's
kind of like the
yeah,
empire didn't die per se. It kind of went to like the Roman Empire treatment of it was became two separate entities basically.
yeah. So definitely. I mean, at least it seems like it kept up a stable area on their own. Like it
Yes.
seemed like they're really influenced. Like it probably have obviously probably influenced places like Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, especially on that coast, and also Mozambique. You got little parts of Iran, Oman itself, like it's a country today. A little bit of Yemen.
They
Um,
actually signed a historic treaty of friendship and trade with the United States in September of 1833. They
hmm.
also had an alliance with Great Britain as well.
Okay, so yeah, like they're like, able to kind of make their foothold at least with a bunch of the other empires, too. So I'd
I'll
say this
say
is pretty solid. Yeah,
I mean, I think they were respected. If they have an alliance with Britain, Britain at least
yeah, it's like
respects them enough.
definitely well respected. I would say for me, I'm probably gonna go an A tier.
I'm just gonna go for B tier for me personally.
B tier. What are you thinking? Just like
I just think there's better empires
better
remaining on the
empires
list.
out there. That is true. That's a good point. There's definitely going to be some major empires like this next one that's coming up here. We got the Ottomans.
Yeah.
We know the Ottoman Empire. Funny enough, I was actually talking to a coworker at work one time, and she asked how I felt about the Ottoman Empire. I like to try to at least keep my personal bias out of these tier lists, but for me, I just said like I mean like it's I, but like I mean it gained a lot of land as you can see here.
At the
Um,
height of its power, they're
it's
knocking
like
on doors
yeah,
to
like they were on the downhill slope for like what several hundred years.
yeah.
At least with Rome, they kept making a little comebacks every now and then. Like they weren't
No.
always on the downhill slope.
No, when the Ottomans did eventually hit their peak of power, they hit the peak like
Yeah.
hard. Like look, this is their
Mm.
fullest extent. The fact that they even controlled Crimea at this point is impressive enough.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're known as the sick man of Europe, I think there's something wrong with you. Not even the sick terms, it's just in general. I think there's something wrong with you. Yeah, I think this map
Yes.
also is better illustrative of how like how it was basically changed.
And also how it was governed too, because
Yeah,
of which parts the Ottomans directly ruled over and which parts were kind of
like
like client
vassals. And,
states.
yeah.
Fun fun fact: the Barbary Coast pirates that they talk about in U.S. history,
Mm-hmm.
they were technically vassals of the Ottoman Empire during that time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes,
So yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I would say like the Ottoman Empire is a pretty solid empire, but for me, I'm not gonna put it in base. I think it's at least an A.
I'd say I'm going to at least put it in the A tier.
Yeah, because at least like for me, it's that like with the Ottomans, um, sure, like they were a pretty mighty force in the beginning, but then like after a certain amount of times, it just went downhill. And then you can also
Long,
talk about
painful
like
downhill
yeah,
spiral.
it's but the downhill spiral, yeah. And you talk about how like the battles between Mehmet II and Vlad the Impaler too in Wallachia. Those are some of the probably the best parts.
Oh,
Um,
100%. Especially when we're talking about Vlad the Impaler.
oh yeah, Vlad the Impaler. I wish there was a Wallachian Empire on this tier list. It would be based 100%.
That's just Romania.
Romania is just based. But yeah, like even talk about like the cultural influences, especially in terms of math and like what was it, map making stuff like that. There's like a bunch of Ottoman scholars that would always come up with a bunch of things.
I mean, it's like
Just like,
at this point we control a large swath modern day Muslim territory.
Mm,
During this time period when you had all these Muslim scholars, you're going to have some of the brightest minds within the Ottoman Empire when it comes
yeah,
to that technological development as well.
definitely a lot of scientific research when it goes towards the alchemy too,
Yes.
which will later be turned into chemistry. Basically, alchemy is really just chemistry but magic. So,
The Alchemist, reading The Alchemist in school.
yeah. Oh my goodness, The Alchemist. If you haven't read the book The Alchemist, don't. You're gonna just end up ruining yourself at the end.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
so yeah, I mean, like, I would say like it's good. It's good. This, I mean, I feel like this is a hot take because I feel like they have a lot of influence, but it's just how hurt they were by the time World War One comes around and them getting just decimated.
Yeah,
Like
I
they
mean,
literally just evaporated out of nowhere, and then you have like all these different like ethnicities and ethnic races all around here in the Middle East just get under control of the like British and French. Then like they all spread out and stuff like that, and it leads to a bunch of problems in the Middle East that we have today. So,
the Sykes-Picot Treaty.
so yeah, um, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'd say for us, I mean, Parthia. Oh, we know about Parthia. At least I know about Parthia.
I know a little bit about Parthia. I'm not, like I said, I'm not
Because
the biggest fan of this time
all
period.
all I know is that Parthia, like at least in terms of the Roman Empire, it was always hard for the Roman Empire to be able to finish off the Parthians because they always had issues.
Very, very interesting.
So and then you see like in like comparison to from the Roman Empire to Parthians, like they're pretty close. I know like at least like Mark Antony, um, after he went on his base revenge spree after all the people that killed Julius Caesar, um, when he split the land with Octavian and who's the other guy? But basically the second triumvirate.
Mm.
Mark Antony basically his main focus like his area was Egypt and stuff like that. He went to just go try to fight the Parthians and become like a legendary hero that finally defeated the Parthians.
Very interesting, actually.
So, um, here's a nice version of it. But yeah, it seems like just um, looks like modern Iran and a little bit of Pakistan in the middle of it.
Yes, absolutely. If I'm, I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but uh, this would be, this was the last state of pre-Islamic Iran.
Pre-Islamic Iran. Okay,
Yes.
so do we know like the religion of this time, or do we?
Uh,
Cause
uh,
I feel like we don't know much about the Parthians, at least not just from us, just like from a historical perspective. At least we only know about the writings of the Roman Empire and how they felt about them.
there's a lot of, I mean, according to Wikipedia, there's a lot of stuff. They have an entire section dedicated to their
Mm,
language and literature of the Parthians. They
really?
have a section dedicated to their society and their cities.
Huh. Interesting. But yeah, it's like this is definitely like, and obviously after this is like the explosion of cultural influence, which will be turning from Islam and the rise in just an Islam controlled Middle East, which I don't want to say controlled. It seems like they conquered it, which I mean it depends on the perspective, but I feel like it's like yeah, it's kind of this is like pre-Islam control of the Middle East, so
Yeah.
it's definitely very special.
So yeah, this is definitely, you're definitely, with the eventual fall of the Roman Empire, uh the a lot of this is a lot of this is when Islam definitely starts becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say it's a solid A, like right here for me. I think it's not bad.
I'm gonna put it in B tier.
And so they got some solid ground for me. I feel like I'm being way. You putting it above or below? I'm on
Below.
Well, really?
Yes.
Ooh, interesting, interesting. Next, we got Poland and Lithuania. Oh yeah,
Ah, the Commonwealth.
Poland
Polish
and Lithuania. Oh, we got some good things to talk about this one. If you can find a good
Polish
map.
Lithuanian Commonwealth. It was
Uh,
huge.
oh yeah, look at that thing. The only thing I really know personally is that the winged hussars. That's all I know.
When winged stars arrived. I mean, that is a
Yes.
fair point. But no,
Um,
it was
that song. The song is from who's the people that sing it?
Sabaton.
Sabaton. Sabaton. The basically a historic song, like battle. Like, like historic battle band. Really, to some degree.
They have albums about World War One. They
Yeah.
have albums about other eras of war.
So yeah. There's this one is when the winged hussars arrive. It's like yeah. Isn't that, if I'm not mistaken? I think it's with the Battle of Vienna, right?
I think
It's
so. It's been a while since I've listened to that song.
I want to say it's from the Battle of Vienna, where basically the Ottomans were trying to capture Vienna from the Austrians, or like the Hungarians at the time, I think. And then they called upon Poland and Lithuania to help out in the name of God
Yes.
to come and save the day, and they did.
Yep. And the Commonwealth here, I mean, how it was formed at this point, there was a personal union with Poland being the kind of like overlord or just like the overarching uh head with Lithuania,
Yeah.
and it was actually it was essentially an enforced merger between the two countries. So
Okay.
Lithuania was still technically its own entity, but when they merged, this is when you officially get the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and
Okay.
what you get is an elective monarchy as well, where
Okay.
they elect the new king, and the king rules, and once the king dies, they elect the new king of the Commonwealth.
Hmm. Well, that's
Absolutely.
something you don't really hear, especially with all these empires. Wait, we should.
No, not at all.
I
And
guess.
it was around for a while too, until eventually, in the late 18th century, when Austria, Prussia, and Russia started to divide up Poland,
Mm,
Lithuania between the
yeah.
three of them. It was a very painful, slow
Painful.
death for them.
Yeah, it's painful. So if it's called a commonwealth, are we considering it on the basis of an empire? Or the commonwealth is just basically on the terms of Poland and Lithuania have joined forces?
They were essentially forced into one country.
Okay. Um, I mean,
There might be constitutional stuff why
mhm.
it's a Commonwealth.
I'd say definitely probably one of the bigger influences is elected monarchies.
Yes,
Uh,
as was the
yeah.
only two times that I've really ever seen an elective monarchy was here, and then with the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah, so I think at least it makes a good case to being based, but I think I'm going to at least refrain. I'm just gonna go top of A for me, especially
I'm gonna,
cause, for
for me,
like
I'm probably going to put it in top of B.
top of B. Really, you're being
Yes,
very critical today, Connor. Oh yeah, it's
I
B.
think B.
Yeah, it's like Connor's playing no games anymore.
Nah, I've seen these empires.
Is we've seen too many empires, and let me tell you, some of them don't deserve the rank of based.
Some of these countries also too. I'm like, are
Yeah.
you really an empire?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like on my end, was I was thinking, is Poland and Lithuania really considered an empire? You know. I'm changing my mind. Parthia is going to be. I don't care anymore. Yeah, Parthia. I'm sorry. The only thing you have to your fame is basically defending off against the Roman Empire, which is a feat in itself. Just it's not base enough. I mean,
Also, I want to say welcome, fish.
oh, fish is in here.
Yes.
Yeah, better late than never. I'm finally here.
Okay, he is here. Let's make you let's make you a tab. So go to template. Yeah, now okay. So we can so this one's mine. Connor's fish. Okay, fish. Where you put in the North Sea Empire? Vikings.
Oh, Vikings?
Yeah.
Keep them there.
Okay. Poland, Lithuania.
Yeah, I'll put it in C tier.
Oh, are you calling me critical?
Yeah, fair. Ottomans.
Keep it there.
Okay. Oh, the Oman Empire. Maritime Empire. Um, East African. Yemen, Oman, stuff like that.
Put it in B tier.
Parthia. Iran. We do not.
Is it just Iran?
It's basically just Iran, and also like it has a lot of like influence from it defending against the Roman Empire. So like they were still able to like retain autonomy for a while.
Put it bottom of B.
Okay.
Being able to defend against the Romans, it's pretty good.
I literally did none of those empires justice whatsoever. Been
Yep.
talking about them. Oh yeah. So next we're on to Portugal. Yeah.
Portuguese Empire. Their empire, I don't think, is talked about enough.
Yeah. I spell Portugal is Portugal. Oh yeah. There you go. I'm assuming it's the colonial empire.
I assume so too.
I'm gonna say it is because this one definitely. Oh, I say I agree with you, Connor. Is this one is not talked about enough? Just look at the grand scheme of things. Some of these I think are a little bit misplaced, especially up here. I never heard that, but definitely.
According to Wikipedia's map,
Oh, really?
that is
Some
that is
stuff.
a little bit that is pretty accurate.
Really? But yeah, just at least look at the grand scheme of things in terms of having Brazil too, having a lot of that African coast and
Let's say
Madagascar.
let's see. Yeah, Brazil is always going to be what Portugal is known for,
Oh yeah.
uh, colony wise. However, they still have lots of little minor trading posts all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So while that might not be the most accurate in how the lines are connected,
Yeah,
they certainly have many trading ports throughout that area.
and yeah, especially this will make the country super rich. Probably I would say second compared to Spain in terms of how much they took. Um,
Yep.
like
I
they're
mean,
yeah.
those are Portugal and Spain were the first two countries to really get into the colony game, with Portugal being the first
Yeah,
country to get into the
100%. Yeah.
exploration colony game.
Oh, I forget the guy's name right now. He basically like went all the way around the African coast and he went to
Uh,
India.
Diaz was the Cape of Good Hope, and then
Yeah,
the Gama reached India.
yeah. So yeah, and then this also like you could say influenced a certain Christopher Columbus to try to find a way to India. You
Pretty
could
much,
say,
yeah.
yeah. I would say this definitely. I mean, we have to definitely make mention of the enslavement of the Native Americans, as we do with every single European colonial empire.
Yep.
Yeah, usually it is what it is. I would say it's base for me. I would say probably here for me in base because I would say the Vikings still have. They didn't have as much obviously in land terms, but I think just deep roots and
Yes.
yeah, it's just good. You know. So
And
what do
and
you think?
eventually the Portuguese Empire, the reason why they fell is just because Brazil gained its independence in
Mm.
uh over in South America,
Yeah.
and then eventually in the early 30s to the late 60s, Portugal was under a dictatorship,
Mm-hmm.
and so because of that, uh, a lot of their Portuguese colonies started to rebel because of that dictatorship. So that's eventually what led to pretty much the rest of Portugal's colonial holdings falling apart.
Yeah, it's like they started off strong, but they couldn't go. They couldn't finish strong.
Yeah. For me, I'm probably going to have to put the Portuguese Empire as the highest of A tier.
Highest of A's. Yeah, I would agree with that too. Fish, where are you putting it?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in top of A as well. I'm reading right here. I mean, it's from Wikipedia, so you know how reputable that is. But it lasted almost 6 centuries from 1415 to 1999. Let's see, after it was from a conquest of Centra in North Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a transfer of sovereignty over the Maku to China in 1999.
Macau, yeah, that was
In
the.
Macau.
I believe, yeah, Hong Kong and Macau were turned over relatively at the same time.
Yeah, so I feel like we're all kind of in a consensus where it should go. I was just a little more generous with it. uh, but next we have the Qing Dynasty. This is what the last dynasty
This
of
is the
China.
last Chinese Empire period.
Qing Dynasty. I'm assuming we all of China, but we'll pull up a map anyways. Yeah, we got the Qing Dynasty. This is a dynasty that is not Chinese owned. It's owned by the Manchus that took over.
Yes.
This is what this lasted until the end of World War One.
Lasted till 1912 when the
So close.
dynasty was overthrown in the uh, forgive me for the pronunciation, the Xinhai Revolution.
Yeah. Um. I mean. Um. Yeah. Then later being turned into the Republic of China, and then leading to Communist China that we know it today. So.
Yes.
But, I mean, again, like it's just China. Um.
China with all of Manchuria, not
Ooh.
because today
Yeah.
Russia still owns part of Manchuria.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, definitely for the Manchus taking it over, moving in.
Qing Dynasty had a very slow, painful death too, kind of.
That yeah, that's also one of those things too. Same thing with the Ottomans. Definitely did not have a happy ending.
No, Opium Wars.
Yeah, British in that. A lot of them just kept getting addicted to drugs. But
Yep, and
I forget the statistic because it's been a couple of years since I've seen it. I think it was saying like over 70% of their population was addicted to opioids.
and what's really funny too is that England outlawed opium in the UK. So
And it's like, hey guys, drugs, you want them?
that's what the Chinese ambassador basically the Chinese emperor basically wrote to Queen Elizabeth,
Mm-hmm.
not Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, and was like, hey, so why are you selling it to us if it's illegal in the UK?
Like you can't tell them that they don't want it. It's just like one of those things. Yeah.
No,
um.
because of all the treaties though that they had to experience, because that a lot of them got. That's how you get a lot of those treaty ports, and then that's how you get like the UK owning Hong Kong,
Yeah.
Portugal owning Macau. I think that even the Germans had some, the French had some. Basically, if you just had to go and bully the Qing dynasty and you get a treaty port.
I would say I don't want to say excuse my language because I don't think it's really. It's just gonna be weird how I say it. It's that basically every single country had their way with them.
Essentially, I mean, basically they just went in and bullied them and was like, "Give us your land," and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, like coming from being the last dynasty of China, that's pretty rough. Like, I would say definitely the Ming Dynasty had a much better dynasty than Qing Dynasty, 100%.
Yeah, the century of humiliation is what it's also called.
This is century of humiliation.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I think this is gonna go into the D tier. For me, I mean, I wanted to put it higher because obviously like deep Chinese roots and everything.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you can't beat the century of humiliation.
I'm probably going to put mine in C tier.
Let's see. All right, Fish, where you putting it?
I'm putting C tier. It lasted a while, had a good cultural impact, and it also saw a population boom. Let's see here of 150 million to 450 million.
Nice.
So it did have a huge
Higher
population,
or
especially for the
higher or
area
lower?
occupied. Um, What else is there?
Poland.
Well, put it above.
Above Poland. Alright, yeah, so Fish is a Nazi confirmed. I'm kidding. I'm
Uh,
kidding. I'm kidding.
a dog.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh yeah, you know what's coming up. Oh yeah, let's do it. It's
We don't
time.
even need to discuss this one.
I already
Yeah.
know where you're gonna put that. You're gonna put that one in based. I can already tell.
Oh man, look at the size of this thing. Like, I think we need to discuss this a little bit because for the viewers out there, I think we need to go into detail of how special this is. The Roman Empire,
Oh my goodness.
founded in 750 BC, speculative, BC, but that's kind of what people are placing it at. Romulus, Remus, She-Wolf, all that good jazz, creating the city of Rome after Romulus slayed Remus. The first thing on the base list, they stole women from other tribal villages to bring to Rome so they could grow the city. Um, then later on, we get the Roman Republic in 509. The plebeians, the patrician classes, and their endless struggles. The three Punic Wars where the Romans absolutely demolished the Carthaginians every single time, even though they had Hannibal with them. Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, Octavian, later known as Augustus, starting the official Roman Empire itself. Need I go on?
I mean, you want to talk about the downfall of Rome?
Okay.
It's on. You could say it's technically on pace with like the fall of the Qing Empire and the fall of the Ottoman
Yeah,
Empire, but very much slower and over a larger amount of years.
100%. I mean, I would say definitely the Roman Empire really started its collapse probably after Constantine. When actually, if people even speculate if he didn't split the empire between Western and Eastern empires, it would have fell a lot sooner. So
It would have.
that was good in keeping it going longer. Like, we actually do have one of Eastern and Western. Where to go? Um, Man, I lost it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, this is the Western, Eastern. They had two different capitals: Rome in the west, Constantinople in the east. Um, yeah, I would agree with that statement. Just like the series of famines, bad emperor leadership, barbarian invasions, led to its downfall and later up breaking off everything from making Italy, Gaul known as Francia, Spain, Britain, or like England, all that kind of stuff, and also leaving the Eastern Empire turned into the Byzantines.
Yes, the
So
Byzantine Empire, my favorite empire.
yes, see. Definitely, obviously, we could talk so long about the major influences that the Roman Empire had, but definitely the one that's on top of my head is their language of Latin being made into escalated into making several other languages such as Spanish, French, English, German, Portuguese. I want to say Portuguese.
Not German. German wasn't considered.
Oh no, not German. Italian.
Yes, Italian.
So yeah,
Like basically all the Romance languages.
yeah, all the the romanticized languages. They even had like kind of like their own different era made about them in like the 1500s, known as the Renaissance, which is like a more revival of Roman ideals, at least Roman and Greek architecture and ideals and philosophies.
I think my favorite attempt at reviving Rome was Benito Mussolini.
That was fantastic. How he tried
Yes.
to rebuild the Roman Empire and he didn't even get past Sicily. Barely.
got to Libya and got to Ethiopia and
Yeah.
occupied parts of Yugoslavia.
It is what it is, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Gonna win A for effort.
A for effort. I think we can all probably agree on this. I know what I'm putting mine. I'm putting it up above base tier. Is too much of an influence. It's probably the most conquered of every single empire that we have, probably besides the Mongolian Empire. But you know, they're barbarians. Um, the only thing that's basically that could be a problem is just its downfall. But throughout its time, they definitely there's some good empires in the mix to keeping it going. You know, so
Well, don't forget about the Byzantines that still saw themselves as Roman after West Rome fell too.
that is
That is
true.
true. But for
So
this purpose,
for
since the
this
Byzantines
purpose,
are
this
a
is
separate
Rome
thing,
SPQR style.
since the Byzantines were their own separate thing,
Yeah.
uh, in previous parts.
So
For
yes,
me,
yeah.
I'm going to put Rome base tier as well,
Top.
but below the North Sea Empire.
How dare!
That's crazy.
I like the Vikings and the Byzantines better than Rome.
Yeah, that's fair. I could agree with that. Fish.
I'm putting it in based. Also, since you were just talking about China, Rome did have its way over to China, and I'm reading here. The Chinese Empire saw themselves as a civilized counterpart to Rome,
Mm-hmm.
and the Romans did not share the similar sentiment.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, the
They
Romans
were,
were
of
very.
course, seeing themselves superior to everybody.
I mean, come
I would say
on.
if you're not Roman, you're
Yes.
not civilized.
Yeah. Top or bottom of North Sea?
Top.
Top. Too.
If
I
I'm not
mean,
mistaken,
like,
there's also a good bit of Roman heritage over in, not a good bit, but there's a small bit of Roman heritage in China, in a certain area that they were in.
mm. I mean, yeah, you definitely just can't beat out all the things that Romans have brought, especially in terms of basically they kind of like kickstarted all those places like Francia and England, especially with its architecture and its building up of cities. Like they built London, they built some other city there too, but it was Londinium when it first
I think that's
started.
one of my favorite things about Assassin's Creed Valhalla is whenever you're over in England and you go to like London,
Yeah,
it's like Roman architecture still.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy to think about, especially when it goes towards all the things that were created. Especially, I mean, France probably had more Roman architecture because they were more directly influenced.
Yeah.
No one's really going over there. I mean, like Julius Caesar went over to Britain twice. First time he's like, yeah, this ain't my problem anymore. And then he ended up conquering up to about here, I want to say. And then when Hadrian came into effect, he really started coming up and then made Hadrian's Wall, which actually the wall is still there in England to this day to show to like signify that is the official end of the Roman Empire at its highest extent up in Britain.
Which I think
So
is pretty cool that
that
is
is
still.
super cool, yeah. Especially if you think about it, if you're like all the way up here in Britain and you think about all the way down here to like Egypt, like that's a pretty mighty far away. Like it's kind of like the I don't know, like getting your mind out of like what you're in and like kind of like looking at it as a whole. How much they've taken over and they're almost like 1,000 years of life is just kind of it's really fascinating to me. So yeah, I'm really like getting into it with Rome. All right, we gotta move on. We gotta move on, or else I'm gonna start going on the hype train. Next, oh, the Russian Empire. You,
Now I'm kind of curious. Do they mean like modern day Russia or the Russian Empire just
I
because of the flag that they're using?
I want to say it's the Russian Empire. Um, especially with like everything. I think this is pretty good representation. I'm going to assume that it is the Russian Empire that it's talking about from. I guess like I don't think it really goes dynasties. I don't know who really was the first Russian czar, but I'm going up to Nicholas II. I'm assuming.
Okay, that's what I want to say as well. I just wasn't sure because of how they put it. But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a big fan of Russian history. So
I'm a big fan of Russian history too. I mean, like they have a lot of, especially the Romanov dynasty is my favorite, especially because it's one the last dynasty, and two is kind of like the Russian golden age up until when Nicholas takes over. Um,
well,
think
some people might argue Peter was better.
Peter the Great.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, Peter the Great 100% was better than Nicholas II. I can tell you that.
Peter the Great, Catherine the Great.
Catherine the Great. Yeah, 100%. I don't think anyone's denying that fact, especially because one, Peter the Great Europeanized, and I'm going to use that term Europeanized. I don't know if it's really a term, but he Europeanized Russia, especially in the terms of dress, um, the stuff that they had at the time in other European countries. Like I remember watching a
Court,
documentary. What were you gonna say?
their court culture,
Court
and
culture.
I believe it's St. Peter's. I think it's St. Petersburg.
Yeah,
Um, a,
yeah.
a lot of the buildings look like if you were in the Netherlands because he took a lot of inspiration from that, and
Mm.
with all the canals as well.
Yeah, he created St. Petersburg too. And first of all, something that I've also thought of at this moment, he built it over a marsh. Why do people build things over swamps?
You
Like,
know, I can't say why they do, but apparently it's more common than we think.
yeah, like Washington, D.C., St. Petersburg. I think London is also. And I think Paris is also.
Hey, but hey, he gets a lot of great cities apparently
That's,
by
yeah.
building on top of marshes and or swamps.
It's a great idea, I guess. Let's start doing it more. um, they had also, funny enough, at least with Peter the Great, he wanted people to be more clean shaven, so he did a beard tax. So basically, you would get taxed more if you had a beard. So that's, and also, in Russia, people have beards.
Yes, so
So
that didn't go well.
it didn't go well, definitely. And, like, Russians love their beards.
Yes.
So then also you move on to Catherine the Great and the Amber Room in, is it the Winter Palace?
I believe it was the Winter Palace,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, obviously a very high working piece of art made of literally an entire room made of amber.
That's got to
Um,
be one of like the coolest pieces of like lost history too, is the Amber Room, unless like what
yes.
might have happened to it, and the fact that they recreated it. Although I've heard speculation that it is the original, but I doubt it.
I would like to say it is, but
I'd
beggars
like to say this too, but I don't know what happened
beggars can be choosers.
necessarily once the Soviets came into control.
Yeah, well, I think what happened is that in World War II, when the Nazis came in, they took
Yeah, didn't
the
the Germans
amber.
steal it?
The Germans took it from the amber room and then put it in a church somewhere. That someone ended up bombing it, and then is hasn't been found since.
Average World War II experience.
Average World War II things.
It's
Um,
crazy how many times it's actually happened. It's a little
yeah.
scary.
Um, then we definitely got to talk about the fall, especially with bad decisions made by Nicholas II. uh,
God.
yeah, this one's pretty rough, especially me as an enjoyer of Russian history. Um, yeah, so like looking at it just as unbiased, um, definitely something we also talked about in our Japanese empire was that the Russians lost to Japan in the Russo-Japanese War, which is like it was right around
Over the
here.
Sakhalin Islands.
Yeah, like basically around this area where Japan is and stuff, and that was a pretty hard blow, and that was under Nicholas's reign. And then you get into the ye old Rasputin doing his thing, uh,
True.
basically influencing the monarchy, basically inviting himself like a poor peasant into the court at this time is definitely not just frowned upon, but also like diabolical. I'm trying to think of some big words here, but just the amount of craziness that they let through in there, and especially they let him stay in the palaces with Nicholas and Alexandria. Is that his wife's name?
Uh, I believe so.
I think
Yes.
so. But yeah, letting him stay with their children when the children was like pretty young.
He was like the weird
Creep.
uncle, basically. He
He's like the
became the
weird
weird.
uncle. Yeah, there's like pictures. Here, I got to pull up now a picture of Rasputin and the family. Um,
I mean, basically, I mean, Rasputin too. The reason why he was able to stay for as long as he did was because of their son, and how he
Hmm.
was essentially able to treat hemophilia.
Yeah, like look at this picture here. This is kind of strange. Like you could definitely see who's the different person out of the group. Like you see all the children, you see Alexandria, and you see Rasputin. Like he's unkempt. He looks disgusting. I know he like. There's reports that he never bathed, um, stuff like that, and also the rumors of the affair between Rasputin and Alexandria, because Rasputin was known as a, I'm gonna say in plain terms, a sex demon. Like he was,
The man
um,
like the woman.
the man like the women, and also like at least his religious philosophy was that you can't repent sin without sinning, which unbeknownst to him, everyone sins. Those things a naturally occurring thing throughout your life. So basically, they would all have giant orgies and then pray afterwards.
What a that
And
was
Man, I'd like to be a part
honestly
of that.
such a
yeah,
wild belief of his.
that
That's like
yeah,
what?
it's crazy. That's why he also got
You were
kicked
talking
out.
about.
Hmm?
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was like,
I'll go after.
we're also like talking about kind of like I I lost train of thought. Hold up. Like this is kind of how he made his way into the royal court. So he's able to meet the Tsarina and the Tsar by doing all these things with all the royal people around. And not only enough, he's doing all this stuff in St. Petersburg. In Siberia, where he originally lives, he has a wife and kids.
Yeah, literally, he's just like, I'm head
Like,
out. And
yeah, like that's insane. Um,
imagine just
yeah,
be like, "Hi, all right, honey, I'm leaving," and just doesn't come back.
for like several years.
What a what a an enigma of a man.
Seriously, yeah. I mean, he's definitely like and I say this loosely and comedically. I say he's a man of mystery, because like at least like as Connor was mentioning, the reason why they had him around was for the heir to the throne, Alexei, which he was diagnosed with hemophilia, but never really no one really knew what hemophilia was at the time. So he was had this like magical powers, I guess you can say. Nah, he used
You know what it
magical
was?
loosely. Hmm.
No, you want to know what he did? He
What?
kept the doctors away. They would prescribe him aspirin, which was a blood thinner,
Yeah.
which would make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Hey,
And
I'm just gonna tell him not give him the aspirin."
Yeah. So yeah, basically the quote unquote magical powers that he gave. Basically, it's just a lot of praying and stuff, and honestly, like he wasn't
magical
believing
power
on
telling
it.
the doctor no.
Yeah. So, and as Fish mentioned, like his magical powers weren't really magical.
No.
Um, Showing it basically as a big disgrace upon the entire royal court. There's a staged assassination on Rasputin, and that is also a weird thing in itself. Oh, whoops. Oh, okay, we're good. I misclicked. The assassination of Rasputin is also weird at the same time. Rasputin assassination. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to show you some of these on YouTube. But
So yeah, be very careful with what
it's
you
yeah. Okay, let's just go back to this one. So, basically, I forget the guy at the moment, but I know he was like one of the big higher ups in the royal court. He got a lot of people together, and they were going to poison him with like cake and wine and stuff like that. Then, he didn't die to the poison.
Cyanide.
Yeah, to the cyanide, and it had like 3 times the lethal dose. So then they started shooting at him. He wasn't dying, so they kept shooting him, and then he was thrown into the what that river is in St. Petersburg, and obviously it's like frozen a lot. And apparently he didn't die until he froze to death. So the man did not die to poison, did not die to getting shot. No, he died from being frozen.
yeah.
He got a little chilly and died.
I mean, that also continues on to the mystery of Rasputin himself.
It really does.
We went completely off track with the Roman Empire. Later on, a bunch of stuff happened. World War One. I don't know if you heard about it. Um,
A little event.
Nicholas II thought he could do better on the front lines, leading, so he charged into the front lines with Alexei. They ended up getting destroyed. Um, then the Russian Revolution happened in 1917 with Vladimir Lenin.
Good
And
old Vladimir Lenin.
yeah, and then Tsar Nicholas abdicated the throne for his son Alexei, but then they basically said, nope, that's not going to happen.
And
Then
essentially the monarchy was abolished.
yeah, the monarchy was abolished, and then they were taken to a place called the House of Special Purpose, um, where the I don't know if it will give me pictures of it. It probably won't. There it is. It's a house of special purpose where the Romanov family stayed and later was assassinated in the basement. Right here.
It was more of a mass murder than an assassination.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. It is more of a mass murder. They were killed under orders of Vladimir Lenin to dispose of the Romanov family because the White Army, which this is also between the war between the Red Army and the White Army, obviously the Red was the communists and the White was the royalists. Um, Eventually, they were catching up. They were probably about a mile or two away from the House of Special Purpose, and then they exacted the order to kill the family.
Fun fact: Lenin never actually wanted to kill the royal family.
Really?
The reason why it took so long for him to kill the royal family was because to him, if the royal family was killed, the peasantry would turn away from the Red Army and join the White Army.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. It's kind of like a whole like martyr thing.
Interestingly enough, after they were all killed, no one really knew what happened to the royal family up until the end of the Soviet Union in '89.
Yeah, because I would say
Until they released the reports of the Romanov family being confirmed executed.
they never
Disclosed.
they never really wanted to let the people know about that.
Yeah. I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't want people to know that their monarchy that they had for 300 years as a dynasty is gone in an instant.
A few guns pointed at them and nowhere to run.
Definitely too. Also, it roses to the theories of the daughter Anastasia, too. If I look up Anastasia, they were it's gonna be the Disney movie, but yeah, Anastasia is the daughter of Tsar Nicholas II, supposedly surviving. Honestly, we all wish it was true. Me and my heart is
There
hurting.
was one woman that claimed that she was Anastasia,
Is
but once she died, they ran a DNA test on her, and it was like, nope, she's not related in any way.
Yeah, Anna Anderson.
Yes.
But yeah, like the theory goes that basically that a communist soldier saw her and didn't want to kill her, so he ended up hiding her away. Um, yeah, it's such a sad story. Um, with at least the story of Anastasia and having it to where all these things occur, stuff like that. But yeah. All right, I think this is Anna Anderson, the woman that claimed to be Anastasia, which I can see the resemblance a little bit, but
It was a tragic tale in the end.
it was rough. We talked way too long about Russia, but I mean, there's just so much history to talk about there, especially that we know. You don't have to look up. So, for me, I'm gonna put it in based. Sure, that I mean, actually, I if I'm being unbiased, I think I'm gonna go with B. I love the history of Russia. I love the influences it definitely brought onto the Russian society, not just as the world as a whole. Um, Definitely high in orthodoxy religion and especially with Peter the Great making Russia what it is today, especially creating St. Petersburg and all
I
kinds of
wouldn't say what
things.
Russia is today, but
Oh yeah, no, yeah, not today, but basically what it, was at a certain point. Let's
yes.
say that. Also, that you can't deny also the things we can't talk about. Obviously, the Soviet Union, which it really isn't part of the Russian Empire, but it ends up leading into the Soviet Union, which is a drastic major influence in not just in world history, but also American history. We don't like them commies.
I believe the Soviet Union did claim they were the successor state to the Russian Empire.
Yeah, so for that, like after it's like poor practices at the end, I'm going, man, I have to put it in B, even though I don't really want to. My personal ideas. Connor, where are you putting it?
I'm gonna put it at A tier for me.
Top or
Yeah, top.
okay? Fish,
I think we put it top of B tier.
B tier. Yeah, it's definitely a tale in itself. Next, we have the Safavid Empire.
Safavid.
Safavid.
I believe they're a Persian empire in Persia. I believe.
All right, let's see it. I'm getting a lot of different things. Is this the consensus?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
the
Didn't
Safavid,
seem to last very long.
the
yeah.
Safavid
It
Empire
was
was
relatively small.
it was one of the largest and long-standing Iranian empires after the 7th century, which was ruled from 1501 to 1736 by the Safavid dynasty. It is often considered the beginning of modern Iranian history, as well as one of the gunpowder empires.
Okay. So yeah, it has a history with gunpowder. Interesting.
Yes, yes.
Um.
So, let's see, it was founded by Kurdish sheiks. Actually, it was how the dynasty was founded by.
Okay. Yeah, it does not look like it survived very long.
No. At its height, it controlled modern day Iran, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Armenia, eastern Georgia, parts of the North Caucasus, including Russia, Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, as well as parts of Turkey, Syria, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. Let's see their demise. Tell me their demise.
Tell me why they suck.
How did they die?
I'm going to assume it's probably because
I
the
think it was the
Ottomans.
Ottoman Empire that
Yeah,
took him down.
it's like, yeah, I'm going to assume it's probably the Ottomans because the Ottomans were big around this time as well. So,
Let's see. In addition to fighting perennial enemies, their arch rival, the Ottomans and the Uzbeks,
mm,
Iran had to contend with the rising of new neighbors. The Russian Muscovy was in the previous century. Uh,
mm,
in the far eastern territories, they had to deal with the Mughals in India.
yeah.
Um, the Dutch East India Trading Company. So
Oh,
yeah,
that
just
Dutch East Trading Company.
this they essentially just
Not
got
even another nation, just a company. That's crazy.
Yeah.
they essentially got gangbanged by all their neighbors, plus the Dutch and also the British.
Yeah, so for me, I think I know. I'm gonna probably put it in C tier. It doesn't feel like it's really that influential, especially because one. I ain't really even heard of it. I feel like it's just mostly like you can kind of just go with, yeah, it's part of the Ottomans. Yeah, but all right, Connor, where are you putting it?
Probably gonna put it in D tier.
D. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Fish.
I'll put it in C tier,
C.
bottom
Yeah,
of C.
honestly, yeah. I think we all come to a consensus with that. Next, the Sassanids.
Sassanid.
Sassanids.
Woohoo!
Getting sassy with it. It's. I think I spelled that right.
It was an older one.
It was the last
Also ended up
Iranian
making to last too
empire
long.
before the early Muslim conquests of the 7th and 8th centuries AD. Endured for over 4 centuries from 224 to 651 AD, making it the second largest lived Persian imperial dynasty after the Parthian Empire.
Mm.
It succeeded the Parthian Empire and reestablished the Persians as a major power in late antiquity, alongside its neighboring arch rival, uh, the Roman Empire. And then after the year 395, the Byzantine Empire, and the empire ended with the Arab conquest of Iran.
Yeah, so basically, kind of the same thing. So this is the empire before Islam kind of took over the Middle East. So that
Uh,
is, I'd say
yes,
that,
it was the last one. Yeah.
yeah, like last one. So I'd say it has some at least good historical significance in that remark.
Yes, and especially
Um,
that fact they were able to put Persia back on the map technically.
that is true, and definitely at least it feels like they stayed alive for a good amount of time, especially during the Roman Empire and the Byzantines.
Yes.
So, for me, I think it's gonna be a solid B. I mean, I'd say it's definitely not as good as the Russian Empire. I should have put the Russian Empire top B, but I'd say definitely it's better than Parthia. I think. Sassanids, I'll probably put middle B.
For me, I'm going to probably put the Sassanids in C tier,
C, above or below.
below.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
looking at
saying.
their religion. They seem to have tolerated Christianity and Judaism, but they had, I don't know how, Zoroaster.
Zoroastrianism.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Seemed to be their
Zoroaster.
dominating religion there.
Hmm.
It's a rare religion. It's only practiced in certain areas of Iran today. It essentially has to do with the four elements, with the sun being like kind of their most important because of fire, I believe.
Hmm. Fish, where you putting the Sassanids?
Um, put it below the Qin dynasty or
The
Qing
Qing
dynasty. I'm sorry.
Dynasty. Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. Seleucids. We all know the Seleucids.
They really put in a lot of like really ancient empires right at the end.
Yeah, really. Seleucids is definitely a major one. 100%.
Yes. The Seleucid Empire, it was Greek and it was founded in Western Asia. This was one of the empires that formed after the death of Alexander the Great.
Mm.
Uh, it was ruled by the Seleucid dynasty until it was annexed by the Roman Republic under Pompey in 63 BC.
Another based empire. Two, basically, it started off as a continuation of a based empire, and then is annexed by another based empire.
Yes.
So
Obviously, on that map too, you can see Parthia sitting there
yeah, you see
on
a
top
little
of
bit
it.
of Parthia. Yeah. It seems like definitely it's just a continuation of Alexander the Great's massive empire. There's nothing really
It,
much like I guess like obviously you can talk about like the Hellenistic culture too that they had.
you know, it was definitely one of the. It was out of all the empires that formed after the demise of Alexander's, the Seleucid Empire was the largest one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only closest one was the Ptolemaic Empire, but that was
The
just
Ptolemaic.
mostly Egypt.
Yeah, so just Egypt. So I would say it's definitely it's providing like influence in the Middle East, especially in terms of Hellenistic culture, um, architecture, all that kind of stuff. I would say it would be bottom of A for me. It's definitely it has massive influence with the Hellenistic society that it was brought after Alexander. So,
Fair, fair point.
where do you put it, Connor?
Probably gonna put mine in uh B tier above Oman.
Yeah, I can say that. It's fish.
Um, honestly, I'm kind of thinking bottom of B tier.
Bottom B. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. The Seljuk. The Seljuk.
Seljuk Empire. Yay.
Yes.
More more Turks.
More Turk stuff. Great. Okay. So I have one called the Great Seljuks.
Yes, they're also
Um,
called the Great Seljuk Empire.
I mean, that's kind of base if you call yourself the Great Seljuks. I mean,
It was established and ruled by a branch of the Oghuz Turks. It was culturally Turco-Persian and ruled by Sunni Muslim rulers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else does it say. Founded in 1037 by Tugril and his brother Chagri, both of whom who ruled over its territories. Uh, let's see, the homelands itself were near the Aral Sea, and the Seljuks first advanced into Khorasan and then into the Iranian mainland. The
Okay.
Seljuk Empire united other fractured political landscapes in the non-Arab eastern parts of the Muslim world. It played a key role in both the First and Second Crusade. By the 1140s, the Seljuk Empire began to decline in power and influence. It was eventually supplanted in the east by the Khwarezmian, Khwarezmian Empire in 1194, and eventually the Zengids and the Ayyubids in the west.
Oh, yeah, usual things. So at least it's just like another one of those Islamic empires that sprouted out, especially how many Islamic empires sprouted out during the times after Muhammad. Um, I mean, definitely Seljuk Turks is like definitely one of the big things, especially when you're talking about again what Connor was saying, the Crusades, big factor, especially with them, especially with Jerusalem being here, Damascus being here, like.
It's like they had a big role to play,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
since they're
big
like the
ones.
main targets basically in the First and Second Crusades
Yeah.
because of their territory.
Yeah, especially they definitely are big targets. So like, especially defending against all those other countries that are out there, like England, France, Spain, Italy, Byzantines, all those kinds of things. For me, I'd say it probably is at least Seljuks. You hear them about so much, so I'd say probably put them below the Ottomans in A tier, especially because of its influence in fighting against the Crusaders.
For me, I'm gonna put them in C tier,
See, where
below the Qing.
blood China. Yeah. Fish.
Oh, scroll. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put him B tier, not very last, above the last one.
Okay. Oh, yeah, above it, above the Seleucids.
Yeah, above the Seleucids.
Okay. Serbian Empire. Man, we're really on the Middle East right here.
I
A
wouldn't
lot of
consider
empires there.
Serbia the Middle East.
I guess like wait, oh, whoops.
Serbia.
Whoops, my bad. You didn't even.
Serbia, my favorite Middle East
I'm
country.
going
Ah,
to.
yes, Balkans, the Middle East.
I want to get off that map because it said something completely random on there. Of course, it's from Reddit.
Yeah, so yeah, the Serbian Empire, it was established in 1346. It was during the founders' rule. Serbia became the most powerful state in Southeast Europe and one of the most powerful European states. Eastern Orthodox multi-ethnic and multilingual empire that stretched from the Danube in northern Serbia, northern Serbian Empire, all the way to the Gulf of Corinth in the south. Let's see. Serbian Empire effectively ended with the death of Uros V in 1371 and the breakup of the Serbian state. Some successors of Stefan V claimed the title of emperor in parts of Serbia until 1402, but the territory in Greece was never recovered. So, if we're going by how long this empire lasted, it lasted from 1346 to 1371.
It's like 30 years.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
Um,
Serbian on the
pretty
terms
bad.
of like going to World War One and be like, oh yeah, base Serbs, like they're going up against their government, doing what they want to do. I was like, nah, this is not what we're talking about.
Those are still makes up the modern day Serbia, but
Yeah,
this is
this is the yeah.
this is no, this
This
is
is
just
not.
a
This is
very
complete Serbian.
yeah,
Um,
it
I mean, like, what else is there to say about it? I mean, like,
didn't last very long.
for me, I think I might have to. This is probably my first F. Wait.
I
I remember the Holy Roman Empire was an F, but I know it was an F. This is probably my second F. I mean, I just feel
I'm
like
going to,
no influence, no determination.
yeah, F tier for me.
Yeah. Fish.
Oh, come on, you guys are being too mean. Put it in based. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's an F.
Yeah, we all are. I think that's maybe the first one we're all on the same page with. That's
How
actually
bad
pretty good.
of an empire.
The Siamese empires. Okay, it says empires. Siamese empire. What are we looking at? Okay, so basically it looks like, places like Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia,
Yeah,
Myanmar.
the main empire that pops up for me is the let's see, it was the Rattanakosin, the Kingdom of Rattanakosin.
Mm,
That's the main one that pops up for me when I type in that.
so,
Uh, the Rattanakosin Kingdom, or the Kingdom Siam, or the early Bangkok
yeah.
Empire were names used to reference the fourth and current Thai kingdom in the history of Thailand. It was founded in 1782 with the establishment of Rattanakosin, now modern-day Bangkok, which replaced the city of Thonburi as the capital of Siam. This so yes, it's still a modern-day kingdom
Hmm.
that sits in Thailand, but it changed a lot. It was based on it's at first it was based on a political model called the Mandela model, which was
Hmm.
I guess popular model in Southeast Asia. And then eventually they replaced the Mandela system with an absolute monarchy until 1932, when in
Hmm.
1932 there was a revolution that essentially got rid of an absolute monarchy and turned it into a constitutional monarchy.
You get rid of the monarchy to turn into a constitutional monarchy.
So technically, this
Eh,
empire kingdom is still the modern day kingdom of Thailand.
I mean, you could say that it had some pretty decent aspects to maintain what it is today. So,
I'd say so.
yeah, and especially, I mean, they definitely don't have as much land as they do now, right? But, at least they're still, this is like probably the only empire that's on this list is ongoing, officially.
Officially, yes.
Officially, if you're not really talking about anything other specifics. But at least for me, I'd say it's a solid. Um, that's probably on the B tier for me. Maybe like bottom of B. I mean, like you gotta be the fact that it's still up and going to this day. It's the only modern one we got on here. That is semi going. But, Connor.
For me, I'm probably going to put it in C tier, above the actually bottom C tier.
Yeah,
Probably for the same reasons you said, though.
yeah. Fish.
I think we'll put it second in the. Now you know what? Third, right in the middle of C tier.
All right.
Mainly just because it's still going.
Yeah.
Technically, like you said, officially, technically.
Officially, technically, whatever you want to say. The Sikh Empire.
Sikh Empire.
Sikh Empire.
Let's see.
Sikh.
So the Sikh Empire was a regional based power in the Punjab area of India.
Yeah.
It existed from 1799 to 1849 when it was captured by the British East India Company.
Like all things.
Let's
Excuse me.
see.
Like all
It
things, the
was
British East India Company.
it was religiously diverse with an estimated population of 4.5 million in 1831, making it the 19th most populous country at the time. Actually,
Ooh, 19th. That's actually pretty solid.
it is, especially for that time period.
Yeah.
The formation of the empire began with the capture of Lahore from its Durrani ruler. And then Rajat Singh was then proclaimed as Maharaja of the Punjab on April 12th, 1801, creating the unified Sikh Empire. uh, a lot of military modernization, fighting with the Afghans, and it was, like I said, finally defeated in 1849 when it was dissolved and annexed by the British.
Um, Definitely, I would say it shouldn't go higher than it should go at least B or below for me. But you gotta also put that factor of the 18th largest population. I would say it's at least for me. I would say probably top of C for me, especially in the terms of that clout that you have. So
But didn't he say that they also got taken out by
the
the East
British.
India Company?
They did,
I
yes.
mean, yeah,
Which
it's the British. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna
is
put
crazy that it was a company that did it. So I don't know. It's a
I
little bit
mean,
of a L there.
it's the British. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna
Like,
put mine in tier
and what's here?
D,
E. Really?
D, D, D,
D. D.
bottom of D.
Oh, D. Fish.
I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna put it in D tier.
D. Yeah, I could see why. Um, I just don't have that many in my CT, so
Your tier list is like going reverse of my tier list almost.
yeah, it kind of is in a way. It's kind of crazy. Next, the song Hey Empire,
Songhai.
Songhai,
I believe they're in Africa actually.
I think.
A little area in Africa.
Songhai
Yes, the
Empire.
Songhai Empire
Yeah.
was located in the western part of the Sahel during the 15th and 16th centuries.
Mm-hmm.
At its peak, it was one of the largest African empires in history.
Mm.
Um, the name of it is derived from its largest ethnic group and ruling elite, the Songhai people. It was established as uh, it was the Soni Ali established Gao as the empire's capital, although a Songhai state had existed in and around Gao since the 11th century. Other important cities in Songhai were Timbuktu and Jane, where the those were like the urban trade centers of the area.
Mm.
Uh, Initially, the Song Empire was ruled by the Soni dynasty from 1464 to 1493, but was then later replaced by the Askia dynasty that ruled from 1493 to 1901.
Okay. So I mean, definitely for it being the largest empire in the African continent, definitely can give you some clout. Especially also
Yes,
like if I have a better picture of the building. Yeah, like the buildings are kind of nice. Like especially with that. I don't know exactly like what kind of stone it is, but I know. I mean, it looks sick.
it's not stone, I believe. It's
It's not. I know
mud.
it's not stone. I think it's like mud. Something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
mud. You know,
Yeah.
the,
So.
the last ruler of the Songhai Empire ascended to power in a long dynastic struggle. In 1590, Al Mansur took advantage of the civil conflict in the Songhai Empire, sent an army under the command of Judar Pasha to conquer the Songhai, gain control of the trans-Saharan trade routes, with the official ending of the Songhai Empire being at with its defeat at the Battle of Tondibi in 1591.
Yeah. So. Um. I'd say it survived for a pretty decent amount of time.
It
Uh.
did,
So.
and then the second dynasty went on to rule that area for a very long time after
True.
the Songhai Empire officially collapsed.
For me, I think I might put this up in at least the eighth here. I think it's definitely better than the Oman and Seleucids. But I think the Seljuks, Ottomans, and Poland are definitely some bigger influences in their areas, especially because usually in African history, a lot of stuff is basically colonial or not. It's basically just a lot of things getting taken over. So I mean, it's really hard to put a point on the empires. But I think the Songhai definitely is up there.
All right, for me, I'm going to put it in B tier.
B tier
Yeah, I'm going to put it above Oman.
above Oman. Yeah, definitely agree with that. Fish.
Mm, honestly, I think I'm gonna put B tier. like bottom of B.
Okay. Next we got Spain.
Spanish Empire.
I'm assuming colonial Spain.
Yep, the Spanish
Oh
Empire
yeah.
was a colonial empire
Huge.
governed by Spain between 1492 and
I
1976.
think this one's a little more accurate here.
Just like Portugal, it was the first empire to usher in the Age of Discovery, as well as colonization and exploration of the New World.
Definitely, obviously, by looking at this map, how much they were taking over is, huge. They were like, sure, Poland was the first one to kickstart the colonization period, but Spain literally drove it into the ground.
Yes, I was gonna say,
So
at the time, the only actual rival towards Spain, colonial wise, was Portugal.
yeah, and especially during this time when Columbus failed to Cuba, and then later on, like go further inland. He's finding gold. He's finding treasures. You know, also coming to terms with Cortez destroying the Aztecs, and
Yes,
Pizarro taking out the Inca.
and
Yeah.
yeah, the end of this empire is essentially, well, if you look at Spain, this territory, the Spanish Empire,
Mm.
you have in South America and Central America, basically everyone's declaring independence.
Yeah.
The United States is going to buy Florida from Spain
Mm-hmm.
and then take over the territories in the continental United States from a freed Mexico.
Spanish American War and all that.
The United States will eventually, and then the United States eventually kicks Spain out of Cuba and the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then they just kind of slowly, that was basically the death knell for them.
Yeah, really. I mean, just like and I mean, also we have to get in talking dimension of the enslavement of native populations. It's pretty rough, especially when it goes towards needing labor to find more gold and like gold mines and stuff, forced conversions, all
Yes,
those kinds of bad things.
the silver mines were
Yeah.
terrible places to work.
So, but just I mean, you gotta mention like the art of discovery. Not I mean I wouldn't say really discovery because it wasn't really discovered. People were there. The amount of European discovery, I'm gonna say European discovery of this area is definitely you cannot take that away from Spain.
Oh no, absolutely not.
And definitely it leads a grisly reminder of especially how bad these countries down in Central America are, like how Mexico is today, how all these Central American countries, South American countries, and Central American countries are today, especially later on in their history in terms of dictatorship governments and tyrannies and stuff like that. For me, at least, like I would say, putting at least uh, putting the slavery aside, at least it's definitely for me based for the reasons being that it's just the influence that it brought to those areas, especially like looking at Mexico, where their main religion is Catholicism. Obviously that's from forced conversions, but at least a lot of the major countries in South Central America is Catholicism, and they have because of the Spanish. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
have to
say
agree. I'm gonna put them in paste here as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of don't want to, but like you can't take the stuff that they did away,
Right.
good or bad. Yeah. Fish.
I think we'll put it top of A, although it's kind of teetering on base tier, and I kind of liken them to the British Empire, that like their influence that they have. Like you were saying with South America, I mean the influence is still felt throughout that area. The whole entire central or like the whole continent of South America and Central America. The way that they just like totally like changed the way the area of the world was.
Yeah, making the point where Fish was basically talking about was that at least looking at the United States, we kind of broke away from Britain in terms of culture and also identity. They really have not broken out of their Spanish roots a lot. Like they haven't really had their own physical identity, I guess. But they do though. But it's literally a lot derived from Spain.
It does make you wonder, like, if the Spanish Empire didn't, like, at least to the
Mm-hmm.
extent it did, like, influence South America and Central America,
True.
what those
Yeah.
areas of the world would be like now.
Definitely. I mean, yeah. You gotta. It's one of those like mysteries of history. You don't know. The Srivalia. Um,
Srivijaya, I think that's how you're pronouncing it.
Srivijaya, I think so.
I'm not 100% sure, but
Srivijaya Empire.
yeah,
Okay.
Srivijaya was a
Okay.
Buddhist empire based on the island of Sumatra that
Mm.
influenced much of Southeast Asia. It was an important center for the expansion of Buddhism from the 7th to 11th century AD, and it was the first polity to dominate much of the Western maritime Southeast Asia. And due to its location, it had developed complex technology using its maritime resources. In addition, its economy became progressively reliant on the booming trade in the region.
Mm.
Uh, the earliest reference to its date was from the 7th century from a monk living in the Tang dynasty. The kingdom eventually ceased to exist in 1025 after several raids were launched by the Kola Empire upon their ports. After it fell, it was largely forgotten, and it was not until 1918 that a French historian formally postulated that the kingdom existed.
Hmm. So it's kind of like one of those ones we don't really know a whole lot about. Um,
Correct. The only things that we know for sure is that it was an important Buddhist empire, expansion of Buddhism in the area,
hmm.
and it was a big trade empire, which makes sense for
Which
its
yeah,
location.
100%, and definitely at least thinking about it, I don't think we've had many Buddhist empires on here. At least none that are specifically Buddhist, because
No.
this is the first one outside the Abrahamic religions.
Yes.
We see this empire, so I think it gives them some street cred. I would say for me, I would say probably I would put it right here at A. I mean, sure we don't know much about it, but it definitely stands out.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Compared to at least all the ones was like, oh, this is just a caliphate. Oh, this is just a Christian empire, or stuff like that. Connor.
Oh, for me, I'm probably going to put this in the A tier,
Nah, where exactly?
bottom.
Bottom. Yeah. Fish.
I'll put it in B tier. I
Where
think, personally, I think below the Russians.
below Russians. Yeah, that's fair. Russians are based. Next, we'll do the Swedish Empire.
Dinga dinga turka.
This one seemed like last like a relatively decent bit. I'm looking over here, founded in 1611 and technically ending in
Oh,
1721. So got 100 years of
yeah.
history there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, had a good
Also, I'm
amount of
looking at
territory.
official languages. Hold on, or common languages. You have Norwegian, Sami, which is like a native kind of language, Russian, and Yiddish, which means there's a Jewish influence there, and
Mm.
Romani.
Yeah, the Sami, that's gonna be like northern Finland, northern Sweden, northern Norway area.
Yeah.
And they're a lot like from what I've seen, they look very similar to the native people of Alaska.
So, I
So
mean, yeah, it seems like at least the Swedish Empire is basically under control of all those Scandinavian countries like Finland, Norway, and a little bit like of Lithuania as well,
yeah,
Iceland.
the Swedish Empire, at least this period of the Swedish Empire, um, it's credited for this period. It began in 1611 with the ascension of Gustavus Adolphus to the throne,
Mm.
to the throne, and then it ends in 1721 following the loss of its northern territories in the Great Northern War to Russia.
Ah, usual stuff.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it feels like it doesn't really provide a lot of stuff, but I would say that, I mean, it definitely stands out, especially kind of like covering their tracks, especially like you can see like all throughout the different areas. They have some places in Africa. They have a place. They have like what's that, Venezuela today. Um,
Uh,
so Swedish Virgin Islands, which is crazy to think that Sweden had a claim in the Americas.
it's funny what countries had colonies slash claims in the Americas that we don't talk about today.
Yeah, like I never thought that Sweden was on the of the colony game. But for me, it feels like they didn't really provide much. Yeah.
No, especially in 1809. The death knell was in 1809. Finland went to Russia.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things. For me, I think it's gonna be a bottom of C. For me, it just doesn't provide much. Connor,
For me, I'm going to put mine at the top of D tier.
top of D. Yeah. Fish.
I'm putting mine on the bottom of C, kind of like teetering on D tier.
Hmm. True. Next, Tang Dynasty. We're almost done, boys. We're almost there.
Alright, so the Tang Dynasty was ruled from 618 to 907 with an interregnum period between 690 and 705. It was preceded by the Sui dynasty and followed by the Five Dynasties and Ten Kingdoms period. Historians generally regard the Tang dynasty as a high point in Chinese civilization and a golden age of cosmopolitan culture.
Hmm.
It was founded by the Li family. Dynasty was formerly there was actually an interruption of the Tang dynasty from 690 to 705 when Empress Wu Zishan seized the throne, proclaiming the Wuzhou dynasty and becoming the only legitimate Chinese empress regnant. The
Really?
devastating Anlushan rebellion shook the nation and led to the decline of central authority in the dynasty's latter half. And like the previous Sui dynasty, the Tang maintained a civil service system through scholar officials, that type of good stuff.
Mm.
The Chinese culture was able to flourish underneath the Tang dynasty, and two of China's most famous poets came from this time period. Buddhism became a major influence in Chinese culture. However, there was policies passed that suppressed Buddhism,
Mm.
and the dynasty and central government went to decline by the latter half of the 9th century, with agrarian rebellions resulting in mass population loss and displacement, widespread poverty, and further government dysfunction that ultimately ended the dynasty in 907.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack from that. I
It
would
is a
say,
lot.
I would say, at least from what it sounds like a pretty solid empire, like a pretty solid dynasty.
Yes.
Um, through like obviously new things, especially having its first empress and never again. So it definitely makes it special in itself. For me, I think I might have to put in the A, just like right here.
I think it's a fair spot.
Yeah. What about you, Connor?
For me, I'm going to put it in A tier as well. I'm going to put it below Portugal.
Below Portugal. Okay, that's fair. Fish.
I think, yeah, I'll put it in A,
Where?
bottom.
All right. Next.
Actually, you know what? Could you do me a favor?
Hmm.
Put B just above it in A. Or, I'm sorry, that's my fault. Put Russia just above it in A tier. It doesn't feel right having Russia be below a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to think about that too. I think I might move my Russia. It's right here. I mean, come on. The Russians actually had a pretty good run. They did defeat Napoleon.
That is true.
So, all right, Tibet. We got Tibet.
The Tibetan Empire formed as a result of imperial expansion under the Yarlung dynasty heralded by its 33rd king, Songtsen Gampo, in the 7th century. The empire further expanded under the 38th king and expanded to its greatest extent under the 41st king, whose 821 to 823 treaty was concluded between the Tibetan Empire and the Tang Dynasty. This treaty, carved into the Zhoukang Pillar, delineated Tibet as being in possession of an area larger than the Tibetan Plateau, stretching east to Chang'an, west beyond modern Afghanistan, and south into modern India in the Bay of Bengal.
Hmm.
Let's see what else. Before it was an empire, sacred Buddhist relics were discovered by the Yarlung dynasty's 28th king and were safeguarded by the dynasty. Later, Tibet marked the advent of its empire period under King Songtsen Gampo, while Buddhism initially spread in Tibet after the king's conversion to Buddhism. Uh, the empire period then corresponded to the reigns of Tibet's three, quote, religious kings, and then let me see how it declined.
We need to know the decline.
A civil war arose over one of the king's successors that led to the collapse of the Tibetan Empire. The period that followed, known traditionally as the era of fragmentation, was dominated by rebellions against the remnants of imperial Tibet and the rise of regional warlords.
Excuse me. So it feels like just like unrest, a lot of unrest at the end of it. Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like there's not really too much to go off of. For me, I think I might have to put it in bottom of C. At least, like, I mean, at least, like, it had pretty solid territorial gain, which is nice. So,
It was another Buddhist empire too, technically.
yeah, it's not a Buddhist empire, so. Connor?
Alrighty, let me see. I think I'm gonna put mine in I'm gonna put mine under the Qing dynasty in C tier.
Yeah, I can see that. Fish?
You know, I'm gonna do the same thing. Put mine bottom of Ching.
Yeah. Alright, we got 7 more to go. Yeah, the Timurids.
They're an interesting bunch.
They are.
I'll be right back.
Alrighty, so the Timurids is a culturally Persianate Turco-Mongol empire that dominated Greater Iran in the early 15th century. That comprised of modern-day Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, much of Central Asia,
Mm-hmm.
the South Caucasus region, as well as parts of contemporary Pakistan, northern India, and Turkey.
So,
Uh,
would you say this is very accurate?
yes,
Yeah.
the empire was founded by Timur, a warlord of Turco-Mongol lineage, who established the empire between 1370 and his death in 1405. He envisioned himself as the great restorer of the Mongol Empire, Genghis Khan, and regarded himself as Genghis Khan's heir.
Oh
Uh,
my.
oh, why?
That's
They
something else.
they had met a lot of trade relations with the Ming Empire, the Golden Horde, and regularly sent diplomats to them. Uh, by 1467, the ruling Timurid dynasty had lost much of Persia to the Akbayanlu Confederation. However, members of the Timurid dynasty continued to rule smaller states, sometimes known as Timurid Emirates, in Central Asia and parts of India. Uh, in the 16th century, Babur, a Timurid prince from Fergana, invaded Kabulistan, modern day Afghanistan, and established a small kingdom there. 20 years later, he used this kingdom as a staging ground to invade the Delhi Sultanate in India and established the Mughal Empire. So, the Timurid Empire itself did collapse into smaller states that were technically still ruled by members of the Timurid family,
Mm.
but it looks like once the Mughal Empire was formed, that kind of ended that.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect the play when you say you're the heir of Genghis Khan.
That was a bold
That's a
move.
bold move. For that, I would say at least deserves for me at least B. So I think for me, I'm gonna put bottom of B.
I think so too. I'm gonna put it at
I
bottom
mean,
of B as
I
well.
mean, come on. We'll catch up with Fish later. But we're gonna keep moving on.
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay. Turmeric.
Yeah, I'll say bottom of B as well.
I mean, come on. When you say that you're the heir to Genghis Khan,
They were rather ballsy.
the Tonga, the Tuwai Tonga,
Yes, the Tui Tonga or the Tongan Empire are sometimes given to. This is a description of
Tonga.
expansion of Tongan expansion and projected hegemony in Oceania, which began around 950 AD, with reaching its peak between 1200 and 1500.
I'm getting a lot of
There's
maps here.
It's just a lot of islands. There's
Say-
not.
Oh, sounds something better. Yes.
It's just a lot of like expansion of just this one kingdom. There's not too much to go off of.
Okay. So yeah. I would say definitely at least so it could go towards the oh man. To the like I guess the popularization of the islands. You know, you can never have too many
Yeah.
islands. Is there really much to go off of from this place, or like
Yeah, no, it's
No.
like it's the decline of the Tuatonga began because of wars and internal pressures,
no, that's
plus increasing influence by the Samoan culture and peoples.
Yeah.
How long did it last?
How long? That's the thing is that uh technically the thing I'm seeing is like around the 15th century. So,
Hmm.
well, the first Europeans arrived in 1616, so
Okay.
that'll do it.
That'll do it. I'd say it's gonna be bottom D for me. I mean, there's nothing really much to go off of internal pressures and that. So, Connor,
For me, I'm going to put it in E tier because there's just not much really.
there's not much. Fish.
I'm putting on bottom of D tier, kind of tiering on E. It's like you guys were saying. It's kind of a lot of nothing.
I would put enough, but the Serbians are the only ones that deserve that spot right now. The Umayyads. Yes.
I think it's the last caliphate to talk about.
Wait, did we talk about the Umayyads already? No, did we? I feel like we have.
Maybe. We've talked about a lot of caliphates.
Yeah. I don't want to spell Umayyads. That's not what I'm looking for. That is not what I'm looking for.
That's not how you know.
Umayyi. Umayyi Caliphate. I feel like we have.
I think we.
Yeah, we
might have.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
We
know
did
why it's
already.
still- Yeah, we
I
did.
think we talked about that in like part 1 or whatever.
Part 1, I think. Yeah. I don't know why it's that. Do we talk about Vietnam?
No,
No. Vietnam.
we're talking about the Vietnamese Empire now.
Vietnam.
I didn't even know they had an empire.
That's why we're here. This is what we're here for.
The Empire of Vietnam. Let's see. It was a short-lived puppet state of Imperial Japan.
Okay.
It governed the former French protectorates of Annam and Tonkin between March 11th and August 25th of 1945. At the end of its rule, the empire also successfully reclaimed Cochin China as part of Vietnam. Wow.
I don't think we really need much to talk about more about this place.
So it technically lasted from March 11th, 1945 to August 25th, 1945.
I think I found something worse than the Serbian Empire.
Yeah, I'm going to put that at the bottom of F tier as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, what the heck? Alright, Fish, come on.
Yeah, bottom of F tier. yeah, that's just a whole nothing burger. I mean, good for them for reclaiming a little bit of their land, but yeah.
Man. Great.
They
The Xiongnu dynasty. Or you just want to say, Connor, about the
no, I'm
Vietnam
just
video?
no. Yeah, no, the Xiongnu
The
were a
Zhao-
tribal confederation of nomadic peoples who, according to ancient Chinese sources, inhabited the eastern Eurasian steppe from the 3rd century BC to the late 1st century AD.
Looking for that. I'm not looking for this. I'm looking for the Empire. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
fucking
Genshin
uh
Impact.
Impact. Oh boy. After overthrowing their previous overlords, the Xiongnu became the dominant power on the steppes of East Asia, centered on the Mongolian plateau. They were also active in areas now known as parts of Siberia, Inner Mongolia, Gansu, and Xinjiang. Attempts to associate the Xiongnu with the nearby Sakas and Sarmatians were once controversial. However, archaeogenetics has confirmed their interaction with the Xiongnu and also their relations to the Huns.
Okay.
Uh, very
Something,
interesting.
something's
Oh,
happening.
Um, and let's see, decline.
I'm ready.
It goes on for a while. Um,
Oh.
it just kind of looks like it kind of gets like integrated.
No. So it just turns into something else.
Yeah.
That's not really fun.
Very long history though, because of their interactions with China and the Mongols.
That is true. So that does give them some street cred. I would say it should at least be top of C. It's in discussion.
Yes,
What are you putting, Connor?
I'm probably going to put it at the top of D tier.
I can agree with that. If you'll let me. Alright, fish.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in D tier as well.
Top.
Sure.
Sure.
I'm not really putting a huge rank towards D tiers. Those are all kind of the same to me.
Alright. Next, the Yuan Dynasty.
Yes, it's one of my. This is probably my favorite one of my favorite dynasties.
Really?
Yes, so the Yuan dynasty was a Mongol-led imperial dynasty of China and the successor state to the Mongol Empire after it split up. It was established by Kublai Khan
Mm-hmm.
and it lasted from 1271 to 1368.
This is actually better. Okay. I'd
Yes,
say it
this-
definitely is. I would say, I mean, definitely it's good.
Essentially, in the for a short story type thing, this was the Chinese government when the Mongol Empire ruled over them.
Yeah, which means, you know, it is what it is. Definitely, I would say at least like when it goes towards the Mongols. I mean, the Mongols just take anything, which is based already.
Technically, the largest Chinese empire,
So I mean,
largest
come
Chinese
on.
dynasty.
I think I might put up at least A. Oh, I don't know. And it is the biggest Chinese empire. I think I might put a bottom of base, teetering on A, but I think it deserves its place up here. Connor?
I would go at the bottom of base tier as well.
Yeah, fish.
I'm putting it in A tier.
Where?
I think just above Portugal.
Just above Portugal?
Yeah.
Alright. And we're on the final empire of this tier list. We have
Yes.
Ethiopia. Give it a round for Ethiopia. Yeah.
The Ethiopian
Oh man, that
Empire.
one right there at base. I mean, I think better than the Roman Empire. Like, come on.
Yes,
Ew.
the Ethiopian
Ethiopia.
Empire, or also formerly known as Abyssinia, encompasses the geographical area of present-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. From the establishment of the Solomonic dynasty by Yakuno Amalek approximately in 1270 until the 1974 coup d'état by the Derg, which dethroned Emperor Haile Selassie. So
Huh.
yes, this was a very long-lasting
It's a
empire from
very, very long-lasting empire. Made some
1270 to 1974.
definitely made some
Yeah, let's be
influence.
sarcastic. That is depressing how long it lasted.
Yeah, it
Uh,
definitely made some influence on the terms of it's a country. No,
Mm.
good point.
yes, I
So,
believe there. I believe it actually used to be. I believe it used to have a big. It used to have a big Jewish influence in the area as well.
hmm
Um, Also, too, during the monarchy, the government it was in exile from 1936 to 1941 because of the Italian occupation.
the Italians, I tell you,
They want their
if anyone didn't know this, our constituent fish is also Italian, and I make fun of him for it.
Hey, come on.
So
We we were relevant too for a time.
you were relevant too. I mean, at least it feels like it is survived a long time, so I'd say definitely it shouldn't go below a D or below rank. So for me, I might just put it in the uh, let's do a bottom of C. I mean, it feels like it hasn't really done much. It's just been around. It's done its thing.
fair.
Connor.
Fair. Alrighty, and for me, I'm probably going to put it. You scroll up.
Oh yeah. So
Alright, I'm going to put it in the bottom of C tier.
bottom of C tier. Fish.
Noah, where'd you put it?
I
Hide that
think
in here.
I put bottom of C.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put it in bottom of C too.
Yeah.
Kind of
So.
teetering on D there.
All right, guys. 3 parts later, it's all done. It's all over. We've done
We
it.
went through a lot of empires.
Holy crap! Like this is part one, part two, and this is part three in itself.
Should go and
And
like reorganize it all and have it all in
nah,
one section,
nah.
or like have them all in one shot.
I mean, maybe I might put it as like a in the community feed of like our total basedness.
Yes.
The
That would
total
be fun to do.
base. That would be fun if we go back and do that. Maybe if we could do another episode where we basically only discuss the base ones and see where we fit in the base ones.
That
That would be
is an idea.
that's a fun one. Yeah, this is my tier list. This is Connor's. This is Fish's. Thank you guys for on this amazing journey of 3 weeks of doing
It was a
this.
fun time.
It's a fun list. If you want to see part one and part two, they are up. They've been up. You should watch them. I'm putting this one up tonight too to watch. But yeah, that's it for us. We might do another historical tier list at some point. But I'll see everyone later. Goodbye.